Grab some coffee, grab a donut. Those donuts are fat and sugar-free, gluten-free.
All right, yeah, baby.
Okay, I'm lying. You're diabetic. Don't even go near them. It's kind of common. We'll have things come full circle. Like you have to watch your kids when they steal stuff from their little kids, like eating too much, and then like your dad is 75, and you got to like watch him. Where was the first place you went this morning when you walked down here? And he's diabetic, so I didn't feel like putting one of those EpiPens in his heart. So our next speaker is a man that I met because I read his book about a year and a half ago, I think. And I read a lot of books. I read pretty much every day. And from the restaurant side of it, it's really easy to fake it before you make it. There's a lot of air quote consultants that are restaurant experts or geniuses, and then when you actually get to read their content or you get to talk to them, you're like, okay, yeah, not really. Pass. This guy's not that. I've talked to him numerous times. I've read his content. I listened to his podcasts. I watch his videos. And he's been doing it, 2003? Since 2003 as a consultant. When they say somebody knows their shit, the dude knows his shit. And the one thing I'll say about this from a standpoint, yes, some of what he's going to talk about today is restaurant specific, but I'm a strong believer in that you can watch any presentation from an expert and relate it to a restaurant, a car dealership, a chiropractor, because there is very systematic stuff that a lot of us aren't doing that we can learn from every day. So without further ado, Mr. David Scott Peters.
Thanks, sir. All right, just out of curiosity, how many are restaurants? Just 1, 2, 3. Okay. So those of you who are not restaurant operators, I will promise you what I'm going to share with you today will help your business. What I'm not going to be able to do is share the stories of tire retail, printing, consulting. Like, I'm not going to give you those kinds of stories. So you're going to have to relate and understand. I know the percentages and I have stories because that's my life. However, people are people, product's product. Budgets are budgets. Controlling your business, leading your business, that's all the same. So do know that over the next hour and a half and then later this afternoon finishing up with the systems of control, this first part is about budgeting, taking back your budget. And I'm going to tell you right now, whether you are an owner of whatever business you have, just because you're an owner doesn't mean you're a leader. It takes leadership to be successful as an entrepreneur, but especially in the restaurant business. And so we're going to focus on how we make you the leader your restaurant needs, your business needs. And a part of that is having a plan for success. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't need a budget. Like, how do you know what success looks like if you don't have a budget? Honestly, how do you know? Do you use industry averages? In the restaurant world, we would follow 34% food cost. Where'd that come from? TV shows, trade publications. It's the national average. That means I've got a pizza place lumped in with a steakhouse. Are you average? Is your business on the same street corner, same price point, same style of service, same set of core values, same? You're different in that respect. So you've got to create your plan for success. Heck, we're still in COVID. We thought we'd be done by now. But the truth of the matter is, we went through this section of business restrictions that damn near killed most industries in the restaurant world. The first shutdown took about 25% of our restaurants out within the first 2 weeks of business. Why? Because we only had 2 weeks of cash flow. That's it, done. December, whether depending on where you were in the country, that second or third shutdown, the restrictions came back, 40% of the restaurant business was gone. Gone. Now, whether they come back is a whole nother story. But the truth of the matter is, we thought that was bad. Now, no matter what industry you're in, the labor shortage is a crisis. And I'm going to tell you, I don't care what side of the political fence you live on, I'm a dissatisfied American. I'm unhappy with everyone. But first reaction is we want to reach out and say, oh, the damn government giving people $300, $600. Sure, if you're 18 to 21 years old, and you had rent abatement, and you could make some money sitting on your ass, maybe so. But what about all the single moms that are the primary breadwinners in the restaurant industry, that now are home because their kids had to be schooled at home? What about the people that you let go because you had to shrink, you had to pivot, you had to change, and they went, holy shit, I can get a job in somebody else's industry, and there's a weekend? Friday really is Friday? right? And then we saw different wages. And we saw different kind of respect. And all of a sudden, I will tell you that we as a restaurant industry did this to ourselves. Like, we're going through a reckoning. It is going to change. We are going to find flexibility come back. We're going to find higher wages, whether you want it or not. Like, for years, I talked about the $15 minimum wage is coming. Right? You look at California, look at New York, and just start sweeping its way in. Well, now it's happening on its own. Because there are restaurant owners who are sitting and going, I was paying 15 bucks an hour. I got to go to 18, 20 bucks just to get someone to apply. So if this is our reality, how the hell can you afford it? Those of you who are not in the restaurant industry, you probably have noticed your prices are going up as consumers. Why? Since January of this year, chicken wings are up 100% our cost. Brisket is up 300% our cost. And the list goes on and on. Then there's this damn trucking shortage. They don't have employees. There's containers of product just sitting at ports. We as restaurant operators might not even see the delivery for two reasons. One, the product didn't show up. And two, they're having labor shortages too. Of my restaurant people, how many of you have seen your actual sales manager drop off or had your broadline distributor say, we're not even going to show up? Like, they literally go, you're not big enough for us anymore. We can only handle certain clients. You're done. Broadline distributors saying, we're not going to do business with you because we can't service you. So now we have record costs in food. We have record costs as employees. We have nobody to work our restaurants. I will tell you right now is a bigger crisis than COVID. By all means, biggest crisis. But here's the deal. With the right systems in place, you as a leader of your business, you can get through this. Because here's the deal. As soon as this crisis passes, I promise you there's another. Name a time in the restaurant industry we haven't had some sort of crisis, whether it was a commodity product, something that had changed, but there's always something. So what are we going to do today? Today we're going to talk about budgets. This afternoon we're going to talk about systems to control and actually hit your budgets. I'm going to give you, and whether you are a restaurant person or not, and I'm going to ask you when I give you this information, kind of like Matt says, you got to give me information. I'm going to give you cards to fill out this afternoon. Give me your name, email address, phone number, but I'm going to want you to put on there that you're not restaurant so that I don't market you to death as far as restaurant stuff, because that message is not going to call, but I'm still going to give you everything I give my restaurant people. I'm going to give you a budget spreadsheet. I'm going to give you a sales forecast spreadsheet that I've had programmed like it was software. I'm going to give you a key item tracker, waste tracker, restaurant checkbook guardian, restaurant payroll guardian. I'm going to give you a discrepancy finder. I'm going to give you the same damn systems that will help you change your world. I can guarantee my restaurant people, I will promise you this is the best day of your year. Between the marketing, attracting, retaining, right, getting all that customer, building your business, on the other side, controlling your costs, becoming the leader you need to be. I will promise you this is the best day of your year. But you've got to do one thing. My dad had a phrase, ideas are cheap. It's the people who put them into action are priceless. Ideas are cheap. I'll give you a ton of ideas. Matt will give you a shit ton of ideas. Michael's going to give you a shit ton of ideas. What you do when you leave this room is what makes you successful. Are you going to think about, oh, well, I'd love to get that. I'm going to write these notes. Maybe I'll get to it. Oh, I'd love to refer to it. No, you got to take action. Pick 1, 2 items from each of us. Go do it. You will get results. Do not let 1, 2, or 3 employees go, oh, you don't understand, that's a restaurant guy? That shit won't work in my restaurant or in my place. Oh, you don't understand. Oh, really? Are you a business? We will no longer allow 1, 2, 3 employees to hold us back. We're different. You don't understand. He doesn't understand. Bullshit. It's your business. You choose, you lead. And I will promise you one thing that is not good. If you embrace what I teach you today, I will promise you with 100% certainty, 100% certainty you will lose 1 or more of your best employees who you thought were your best employees because they will reach as low as you set the bar. And I'm doing this. And they don't like change. Doesn't mean they're bad people. Doesn't mean they didn't get you to this point for success. but we're going to train them what their job is, how to do it, how well it should be done, more importantly, by when. They're going to demonstrate it back. We're going to hold them accountable, which is answerable when we do it that way. And you're going to move your business forward, and they can choose to be a change agent on your business or get promoted to customer pretty quick. It's their choice, not your choice, not the big bad restaurant owner, business owner. The employee gets to make the choice, but as long as we give them the training, the support, coddle, coach, hug, don't care what you want to call it, we know we need them. You demonstrate you're willing to do what's necessary to make sure they're a part of the change. They get to choose. And some people don't choose. That's the negative. The positive is the new person who comes on, this is the way we do it. Okay. Not, well, that's not how we did it. I mean, we haven't done it that way in 30 years. That sucks. Do you know what the most dangerous phrase in every one of your businesses is right now? That's the way we've always done it. Are you shitting me? That's why 40% of restaurants are closed. They failed to innovate. They failed to work strategically on their business. They didn't have a plan. You're different. You're here. You invested your time. Now you've got to invest your efforts when you leave here. Grab 1, 2, 3 ideas. Change your business for the better. Right? Matt and I were talking yesterday, the difference between being FedEx and US Postal. Who are you? Are you innovative? Or are you stuck in your own damn way? Nothing can change. It's everybody's fault. Like if you start blaming the government, you start blaming those idiot employees, you start blaming the vendors, you start blaming everybody but looking internally and going, it's my business, you got a problem. You can't control those things, but you can control what you do on a daily basis. That's your choice. You choose your attitude every day. You choose what you're going to do or not do every single day. I'm going to ask you to choose to lead your companies. You have employees and customers and communities that are counting on you to lead, not just be a victim in your business. And that's what's the difference between being a great entrepreneur and just dumbass lucky. So here we go. For those of you who don't know me, I grew up in my family's restaurant and catering business back in Linwood, New Jersey, where I worked for the toughest manager I know. Anybody work for your mom? Yeah, it sucked. Hated every minute of it. Truly hated it. Why? She worked my sister and I twice as hard as anybody else. Now, while I hated it, she did me a favor. I had a work ethic like nobody else around me. I elevated my career everywhere I was. I then took those skill sets after college and I worked for a company called Coyote Springs Brewing Company and Cafe in Phoenix, Arizona. This is in the early 90s when brew pubs were opening one a week. It was magic. Our first location was a cash cow, hand over fist money. It was unbelievable. You want to make money? Brew beer. We opened our second location, much like owning a boat. Who owns a boat? Hole in water in which you throw money. As one made it, the other one just sucked it dry. And this is where I had the opportunity to learn what it means to run cash flow versus profits. I'd moved my way up from bartender to bar manager. We opened 2 stores. One assistant manager took the store. The GMs kept that store. I was getting the 3rd store and working back and forth. And the owner said, separate David from the schedule for 2 weeks. He's going to work on budgets. 3.5 years later, when I left the job of operations manager, developing all the systems, I learned cash flow the hard way. The owner and his family were going to Ireland to tour Guinness. David, you're going to pay the bills. How hard is that? How hard? Like a bill comes in, you write a check. Yeah, easy. I call him in frickin' Ireland. Hey, Bill, we're not going to make payroll. And had to call investors to get a cash call so we could survive. So when you start to understand that asset, not just your people, but the cash and what you do with it, it's not about percentages, it's about being able to pay your bills, it changes your world. And that's where I learned the importance of systems, that there's a system, a process, a way to doing anything and everything in your business. Whose way? Your way. I don't give a rat's ass if your way takes a half an hour longer than somebody else's. But I'm not going to have 5 managers count on a bar door 5 different ways because I can't audit it, I can't train it, I can't see if they're stealing. I can't do that. But you learn my way. I can train it no matter who's there. When a manager leaves me, it's my way. does not mean I'm not listening. I run what I call a democratic dictatorship. I want everybody's input. I'm going to make the final decision. So I can bend. You got a great idea? Shit, I'm making the change. And we're all doing that change. We're not individuals. We're a team. We're a company, and it's my way. Then all of a sudden, you've got great training systems. You have the ability to handle turnover. And you know that your business is being run when you're there, but especially when you're not there, the way you want it done. That's why chain restaurants kick independent restaurants' ass all the time. And they suck. Like, nobody hears from Applebee's, right? Yeah, good, because they suck. They're horrible. But they have lines of people. Yes, they've failed to adapt, and they're starting to close some stores, but they have lines of people for riblets that were put in a microwave, for Christ's sake. Why do they have lines of people? Because they suck the same way every day. And so we've got to deliver that same consistent experience. It does not matter whether it's restaurant or it's another business. Matt picked me up yesterday, and I got to use an erg, I'm a rower, at his CrossFit gym that he's a partner in. And I tore it apart. We sent a video to his management team from cleanliness and opportunities to repaint and branding and all these things that go into it. Your businesses are no different. There's people. There's product. That's it. And we have an opportunity to create memories. Do you want to create a shitty memory? And if you do, you better nail it right in that while they're sitting in your restaurant, that you can viscerally change it into a good one, because that is, when it's visceral, they'll remember you forever, when you turned a bad experience into a great experience. Or do you let them leave? Let them hit Yelp and go, well, that's not really my customer. Bullshit. If it's on Yelp, where there's smoke, there's fire. It's that one employee you failed to get rid of. Everybody else is great, and they're destroying your business one review at a time. Does that make sense? We have the opportunity. Now, so I learned this great lesson, and we started to become a sinking ship. And so I moved on. I went over to a franchise company called Famous Sam's, a 30-unit restaurant sports bar chain, as the director of operations. We were opening 8 stores. I redid the training program, brought in my own operations team. Guys who bought the company wanted to take it public. We are going gangbusters. It was incredible. And in under a year, the guys damn near bankrupted the company. I'm like, I'm not sitting on this sinking ship. So I went and taught at Scottsdale Culinary Institute, management, human resources, wines and spirits. So if anybody's chef in this room, don't talk to me about food quality. I have 0 knife skills. I'm horrendous. I do not belong in a kitchen. However, with the right systems in place, I can run anybody's kitchen. I can order on budget and par levels. I can staff off of budgets and staffing guides. I can open and close every station off of opening, closing, side work checklist. I can manage a kitchen, I just can't cook. So no matter what business you're in, the more you systemize, the more you have control of your business. It's your system, your process, your way. You may not be the best tactician, but that knowledge doesn't go away. Too many of us grab that one employee and we put all of our marbles in the one employee, and then someday they leave, and you go, oh my God, what do I do? That person orders. That person knows our POS system. That person knows. That person knows. And when they go, you got to do it all again. I have this philosophy. I think managing people sucks. I want to manage a system. You did your job or you didn't. I want to develop people. That's awesome. When you can see their growth. So no matter what your business is, this applies. There's a system, a process, a way to doing anything and everything in your business, and it's your way. Now, as I was instructing, I was consulting. The minority shareholders of Famous Sam's, who became the majority shareholders, were one of my clients. And they asked me to come back. It was about 1 month before my first child was born. I said, okay. And I walked into a company that was a disaster. We should have been bankrupt. Done. We had almost $2 million in liabilities that we co-signed for bad franchisees that were being called. We had a bank loan that was the guy I replaced didn't keep up with, so we were in the workout department. If you've ever been in the workout department, that's a whole lot of fun. And we had basically 25 cents to every dollar we owed in short-term liability in the bank. Should have been bankrupt. And I was told, turn the company around and sell it in 5 years. I missed that goal by 3 months. I know what it is to be an independent operator. I know what makes a chain successful. I felt it was my calling to teach independent restaurant operators the same systems and tools that chains use without losing our independence. We love our guests, we love our employees, but we are going to do what they do well, and that's make money. And often managers see me and go, oh shit, this dude's going to make us corporate. What the hell does that mean, corporate? Cold and sterile? You got the same ADD restaurant owner with the same set of core values running the business. We're just raising the bar. We're asking you to do the same thing every single day because that's how we win this business. Giving the guests the same damn experience, same food, same product, same every single day. Now, while I was selling that company, the last 2 years, I started another company. It was a restaurant training coaching company back in 2003. Seminars, workshops, info products. It was incredible. I had members that became coaches and a coach that became a partner. Next thing you know, the business evolved because I had people saying, I'm tired of spreadsheets, David. I'm trying to put the same number in 5 different spreadsheets. I'm tired of management manipulating the numbers by accident or on purpose. I don't know they're wrong. Tired of recipe costing cards, getting them done, putting 40, 60, 100 man hours in, and the day I'm finished, they're wrong because a delivery came in and the prices changed. So I developed a piece of software, back office, did everything for running a restaurant, from daily manager log and cash controls to ordering, inventory management, scheduling, and so on. There was a lot more to it. And in 2019, May of 2019, my business partner approached me to buy me out. So since then, I have been back to basics as a restaurant coach, helping independent restaurant owners not only put the systems in place to make money, but there's been a major shift in me. And part of it was writing this book, because this followed my most successful people. I don't know if you're in what industry you guys are in, but if you're familiar with mastermind groups, where you have 20 restaurant owners in a room from all over North America sharing ideas, helping each other. Because restaurant people will help each other. We were talking about this before. We'll help each other. But if you're a neighbor, we hope you die. Like, you're taking my lunch business. I love you to death, but I will not share with you the real deal. What's going on in my business? I will not give you that marketing idea. Oh, shit, no, you're on your own. But hey, we'll drink together and hey, I need cups. Oh, here's cups. Napkins. Oh, I need napkins. But when you're not a neighbor, you share, and it's magical. So in a lot of industries, they're called 20-20 groups, like car dealerships and so on. It's masterminding. It's incredibly powerful. Well, these are the most successful people I've ever seen, I've worked with, and I saw them change their lives. And what I learned as I left my other business, which became a software company that had coaching, that was the drive or the split between my partner and I. I'm a coach. Software is a tool. If you don't understand where the numbers come from, you don't understand where it comes from, you don't understand the word problem behind it, who cares? So when I left, I realized that my calling is no longer just to put systems in place. It's really restaurant prosperity, filling your industry. Freedom from your restaurant and the financial freedom you deserve. Because did we become entrepreneurs, become prisoners to our business? Or did we have this idea we'd make money and have frickin' time with our family? Go travel and do things. That's what we thought, but we get sucked in because we're God's gift to our business. I'm the only one who can order, son of a bitch, they're idiots. Making yourself a prisoner when it's you that didn't train them, didn't select them, didn't hold them accountable. So the negative is when we have challenges in our business, it's your fault. The positive is you're the solution. That's the most amazing part of this. You can change what you created if it's not what you want it to be. And that's powerful, but you gotta approach it as a systematic approach. So this is what I do as a coach. Now, I'm not gonna read each one of these bullets, but I'm basically telling you, we're gonna start off, I'm just gonna break it into 2 parts today. This morning is budgets. Budgets. Where do we get our numbers? How do we put it together? I'm gonna give you my Budget Builder MVP spreadsheet. It can work with any one of your businesses. It's 100% customizable. And when you give me your contact information, I'm gonna put you into my member site. I'm gonna give you the spreadsheet and a video that teaches you how to use it. There's also a slew of others, and I'm going to tell you as we go through each one of those things. This afternoon, we're going to go through something like 7 systems to control your budget. From a key item tracker, waste tracker, restaurant checkbook guardian, these will work for other businesses. Change the word restaurant. Stop theft, stop dumbass mistakes, put your management team on a budget that you can give up ordering without giving up your checkbook. How powerful that is, because all too often restaurant operators come see me. I speak all over the country, and they're usually like, hold on one second, I got to go outside and make my order. Or they gave it to somebody, and they come back and there's $3,000 extra food on the shelves. Because they were terrified you'd come home and you 86 something, you dumbass. So they order more. Taking your cash, remember cash flow, out of your bank account and on the shelf to be stolen, wasted, spoiled. And the last time I checked, I can't go to the power company with a case of steaks and go, thud, we're even. Replace your business, your product, and you understand what I'm saying, right? I can't tell you how many restaurant operators I've worked with who go, I'm profitable, but I can't pay my frickin' bills because it's all on the shelf. Cash pays our bills, profits don't. That, again, no matter what industry you're in, that is a no-brainer. So then I'm going to give you these other tools for labor, to give up scheduling, telling your managers not only how many dollars they have to spend, but how many hours by position to go into next week on budget instead of bringing people in and praying you're busy. See, in the restaurant world, we do this thing. Fill your shift. Bring them all in at the same time. Let them play grab ass at the time clock. Pray you're busy. And if we're slow, don't worry, we'll send them home. Well, if I'm Michael, he's $15 minimum wage. Do you know how many dollars he bleeds if he waits 3 hours to send someone home? How about we learn to stagger start? Bring in 2 to open the restaurant or your business. The third a half hour later, the rest 2 hours later, whatever it may be, because every minute, tick, 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 you owe. Being a good steward of your money, your business. That'll be in the afternoon. So now, whether you work with me and it's just the time we share today, or you become a coaching member, does not matter. From this point forward, you have a responsibility to run a profitable restaurant. Insert your business name here. You have a responsibility to run profitably. Number one, to your guests, your customers. You fulfill a need in your community. That's why they walk in your door, yes? No matter what your business is, yes? You fulfill a need. They want what you have. So you have a responsibility to them. You have a responsibility to your employees. That's how they're gainfully employed. They feed their families, pay their bills. In the restaurant world, now granted, half of them drink their paychecks away, whole nother story. But you have a responsibility to them. But here's where we screw up as independent operators. You have a responsibility to you, your family, and any investors you may have. And I'm here to say you come first, not last, my social working friends. Why would I call restaurant owners social workers? We care so much about creating a guest experience. We care so much about our employees. We pay everybody first. We pay rent, we pay utilities, we pay our employees. Hell, they have overtime. They do all these things, and we pay ourselves last. In fact, sometimes we feed the business because of cash flow. And so if you are one of the 40% that would have closed because of COVID and the restrictions, and you survived it and you pivoted, if we hear the word pivot one more time as restaurant operators, they want to blow our heads off. But the truth of the matter is, you were a leader and changed how you operated to survive. We can't go back to the old ways. Now we have to become even more efficient, better stewards of our money, and put systems in place to allow us to duplicate ourselves, impose our will without being there. It's critical because why? If you close as a business owner, there are no jobs for your employees and there's no restaurant or business for your customers. So when we learn that you come first, not last, you have the ability to make good decisions in your business. You can choose to give that employee overtime, but you chose to give him or her your money versus looking backwards, talking to your managers, why the hell's overtime so high? Like you're lucky or not that you made money. Does that make sense? You choose, and that's very different. So now, if we have this in our brain, let's talk a little bit about this. A steel piece of paper here. Let's say this represents a profit and loss statement. When do you get your P&Ls? 15 days the next period? 30? 60? 90? I've seen worse. What does this P&L represent? Who can tell me? How much money I have? No? That'd be balance sheet, profit and loss. What does it represent? Come on, wake up for me. Sure, so how much did I make or lose for all intents and purposes? Sure? I'm going to simplify it. It represents the past. Can everybody here change the past? No, it's too freaking late. And if you get it 15 days in the next period, and that's good. Y'all understand, if you get your P&L 15 days in the next period, whether you're a 13-period accounting cycle or monthly, 15 days later, and you say, chef, food cost is high. First words out of the mouth, that's not my numbers. Like they don't believe the magic accountant. Oh, that's not mine. I don't believe it. But let's say chef does believe it. It's too late. Chef's made the same dumbass mistake for 45 days in a row, and now you want him or her to fix it? You as a leader want to look backwards 45 days and change it? It's too effing late. Your month has been blown. So what I want you to think about is your P&L is reactive. So, I thought I was impressive when I had the midlife crisis. I had purchased myself a Nissan 380Z Nismo about 2 years ago. And then you see Matt in his Lamborghini and you feel inadequate beyond belief. I'm okay though. So anyway, so I'm thinking this is a fun little sports car. And it's tiny, it's a Matchbox. I would get out of this thing into valet, I'd go to Vegas or something, get out of it, and they go, you fit in that? I'm like, dude, you just call me fat? Well, I am, but that's a whole nother story. So I loved this car, it was fun, but I really didn't fit. So I only owned it for about a year. But it was a blast, it was fast. You felt everything in it. Not quite like that Lamborghini. That thing is to give you whiplash. So I'm going to say, I got this car still. It's parked out here. It's black. It's beautiful. I'm going to allow each and every one of you to drive that car. I want you to drive the car, but here are the rules. I have blacked out the front windshield. All you can use is your rear view mirror. Put it in drive, and the moment you put it in drive, you must hit the gas pedal and never let up. What will you do with 100% certainty? No, you can't touch it. You're going to wreck. You can only, right? So you're running a business doing this. Are you shitting me? Like, honestly. So what is a budget? A budget is ripping off that front film, knowing where you're going. It's important to know where I've been. That's important. That's part of guiding me. I need those numbers. I need that information. But where are you going? You as an entrepreneur, what is your plan for success? What are you going to do in order to control your costs, bring things in line? As labor goes up, food goes up, what are you going to do to survive? To thrive? Hell with survive. So a budget is your crystal ball. It's your plan. How do you run a business without a budget? I don't know. And in the restaurant business, I always talk to people, are we an industry of pennies or dollars? It's pennies. And so we'll trip over, literally, we find those home runs, I saved this much money here and there, but it's the $200 a week from this expense that went down. It's $300 a month in this expense that went down. It's these tiny little changes that add up to make a difference. Do you guys know what the national average is for a restaurant, what it makes, profit and loss? Profitability for a restaurant is 5 to 8 cents. A nickel to 8 cents on every dollar. Who the hell wants to spend that kind of time, effort, and money to make a nickel? I don't want to do it. Do you know that Ohio State University did a study and showed 62% of all restaurants fail in the first 3 years of business? Why the hell would you want to be in this business? Because you have a passion for the business, you love hospitality, you think you got a good product, right? Well, all these things, it's addictive. Replace your business with whatever I just said. You know where I want you? If you do at least $850,000 a year or more in sales, my goal is a 15 to 20% profit margin with a full management team in place where you're working on your business, not in it. And that's possible on the same sales you're doing right now. No matter what business you're in, you guide that ship. You are the leader. How do you do it without a budget? And oh, by the way, in our industry, I say industry standards don't apply. I hate them. You all seen Bar Rescue and oh gosh, name restaurant Impossible, Miriam, right? My wife won't let me watch the shows. I yelled at the TV. I'm like, oh, you gotta be freaking kidding me. Now, do not get me wrong. I have auditioned for several shows. I made it to final cuts and they decided not to go with the show. I will whore myself out. It will happen. But you can't change a business in 3 days. It's a 6-month to a year journey because it's changing company culture. It's difficult. The systems that I'm gonna teach you, they're tasks. They're easy as hell. They're tasks. I'm a math teacher for all intents and purposes. Shit's easy. Getting people to do it, staying on them every single day, ensuring it's being done your way every single day, that's hard, that's culture. Let me define it. When you have a good company culture, it's when one employee looks at another and says, dude, that's not how we do that here. See, as managers, yeah, you're gonna have to babysit. You're gonna tell people, change, do it again, different. We go from 80 to 40 times a day, to 20 times a day, to 15 times a day, every single day. It's not getting any better than that. But it's when their peers go, dude, that's not how we do that here. Let me put it to you another way. Remember that labor shortage I talked about? That's culture. You need to become an employer of choice. It's going to take 6 months to a year. There is no, I don't care if you raise your wages. It's going to take 6 months a year. You have to fundamentally change your culture. And you're going to know if you are an employer of choice by this. One of your team members is at a table talking to a customer. The customer goes, you like working here? Oh, as soon as I can get out of this freaking place, oh my God, they're like this, and it's awful here, and da-da-da-da. They're sharing all that dirty laundry right there at the table. Versus, do you like working here? It's so awesome. We treat you like family. You've been here 3 years. We can do whatever we want. Da-da-da-da. Like, it's just, wow. We feel a part of it. Now, many of us as old timers, I see a whole bunch of people my age and slightly younger, we used to want to bitch and moan about these young millennials in the back. Oh, these frickin' millennials. Oh my God. We invented a term for millennials. I had no idea. Ghosting. Right? They don't show up for the interview. They show up for the interview. They don't show up for the job that you hired them for. They show up for training. They don't show up 2 days later. They don't text. They don't call. They don't nothing. They ghost you. Because they want to be a part of something bigger. They want to belong. They want good management. They want good supervision. They want training. Man, does that sound horrible? No, it sounds awfully wonderful. Isn't that what we wanted? But we got trained like a dog in the 1980s. Wouldn't do it today. Come on, old timers, you know what I'm talking about? Roll up that newspaper. Dog takes crap on the carpet, stick their nose in it and go, bad dog. Isn't that how you learn in your industry? Somebody said, hey, dumbass, lights are out. What? Bad dog. Till every day you start walking around your restaurant like a tourist in New York City. Right? You had your nose hit so many times. That's how we learned. The next thing we did wrong, next thing we did wrong. So honestly, how'd you learn the business? You made a mistake, we corrected you with negative reinforcement. Who the hell wants to work that way? So millennials and younger have changed our industry. Quite honestly, we needed to change. We needed to change. You can't treat people like it's 1990 and throw pots and pans and tell them, no, the customer's wrong, you can't have that. It's a different world. So we've got to adapt how we work with people, no matter what your industry is. And by the way, they bitched and moan about my age group or generation. They bitch about yours. We'll bitch and moan about everybody. Does that do you any good? Or do you as a leader need to change? Adapt. You are the solution to your business. If you've got high turnover because you're not an employer of choice, because people hate working there, fix it. And it might be your lack of management or the wrong managers. Fix it. So now, these are the 7 steps we're gonna go through reasonably quickly. I think I've got to get done by 11:30. We started a little bit late. We're going to talk about trailing methods. I'm going to send you guys the PowerPoint as well. So when you give me that card, you'll get the PowerPoint as well. So budget, 7 steps, trailing 12 months. So we don't wait and start budgets in January. We start right now. We start next month, but we do our trailing 12 months of data that we actually have. That's our history. We're going to do our sales by category: bottled beer, draft beer, wine, liquor, merchandise. So name your industry. What do you have if you have different categories? Cost of goods sold percentage by category. Labor, is it fixed or variable? By category. We're going to come down and look at fixed or variable expenses and the operating expense. Does everybody understand the difference between fixed and variable? Okay, if not, we're going to go through that. We're going to create your plan for success, and then that which we measure improves. You all heard that cliche. It's true. No, because God was April of 2020. As I was sitting on my ass, sold my company. It's been almost a year, been over a year. COVID hit. Wasn't exercise, wasn't doing anything. I ballooned myself up to 268. And then I kind of yo-yo diet. I get on a scale. I look. I don't like it. I make changes. Then I get comfortable and I stop weighing myself. And then my pants get shorter every single time, right? Because I get bigger. Well, the fact of the matter is, when I measure, I improve. How's that any different in everything we do in our business? That which we measure improves. If you don't measure it, it won't improve. Your budget is your beginning. This is what I think I want to do. This is my plan. I measure. And here's where it changes for us as entrepreneurs. The old us, I'm going to destroy this pad of paper, get another piece. The old us grabs our P&L, goes to the last page, what I made her lose, and goes, oh shit, that's it. Welcome to running a business. You got to be kidding me. I want to get to here, and we go, my budget says I was supposed to make $14,000 this month in profit. I made 7. Our food cost was high. We didn't manage our labor. We had a new piece of equipment we had to buy. Like $7,000 in my year end is gone. So do we just, typical restaurant owner, business owner, shit, move on? Or do we look at it and say, where did I miss? Oh, labor, my kitchen labor is outrageous. I'm going to now streamline my menu, reduce the number of items so I can reduce the amount of prep I need, reducing my kitchen hours. I'm going to get a prime vendor agreement and reduce my food costs by 2-3 points, buying the same damn groceries I'm buying right now, just promising to buy 90% from this person. I'm going to do this. Small changes. If it's month 1, I got 11 months to make small changes to make my $7,000 back. I'm going to make the money I deserve without affecting guest satisfaction. Product quality. I'll never tell you to buy shitty product. I'll never tell you to cut labor that you can't handle business. But are going to be smart with our money. And that's the difference. See, with a budget, you're looking at every line item, every period. Heck, at some point in time, I'll get you on prime cost budget variance on a weekly basis, because now I can proactively change before the end of the month. I'm reporting what I can control every week and adjust. So we're going to go through each one of these steps, step by step. So it starts with our trailing 12 months. Now this is an example of an older restaurant. It was actually a chain restaurant out of the Philippines. It was here in California and a couple other places. So you would not see food, any bev, and alcohol with me. I will show you the difference. You're going to see bottled beer, draft beer, wine, liquor. They each have their own cost of goods sold target. They have their own controls. How do I know when if my alcohol cost of goods sold is high, how do I know where the problem is if they're all lumped together? I need to know they're stealing bottled beer. I need to see that they're overpouring my liquor. I want to see that they're stealing. So why? So I can prevent it. I can stop it. Change. So I grab my sales. Last 12 months. You've got that, yes? Every one of your businesses, you know what your gross sales were for the last 12 months. Next. We're going to grab our cost of goods sold, or our sales by category. So it's important to know that if I've got sales expected to come in today, how much of it's going to be food? If I'm 85% sales, I got $10,000 in sales coming in that day, $8,500 is going to be what my kitchen can order against, not 10 grand. They don't sell bottled beer, draft beer, wine, liquor. So I've got to split that up. You've got this data in your QuickBooks file. You've got this in a DSR tracker. You've got this in your POS system. Yes, every one of you, no matter what business you have this data. Nothing so far has been difficult to find, yes? No matter what business, yes? You guys asleep on me? You need another donut? What the hell? I can't give you any more energy. I'm sweating like a whore in church in here, not to offend any of the whores here. So 3, I need my cost of goods sold by percentage. Now this is a tricky one. You're going to see, we're going to later talk about prime costs, and I'm going to talk about the importance of inventory. And in the restaurant world, I can tell you that 9 out of 10 restaurant operators I talk to don't take inventory. Nope, they take inventory once a year. When their CPA calls, says, what's your year-end inventory? You go, I don't know, what was it last year? Oh, add $500. That ain't taking freaking inventory. I'm going to have you counting this shit every week. I want to know my cost of goods sold, my numbers every week. Oh, it's so hard, David. It takes so much time. It takes 4 hours to count our inventory. Then you have too much shit on your shelves and it ain't organized. Like I teach a system called shelf-to-sheet inventory. So the old timers, we had spreadsheets and we put our inventory together, and you'd walk in, the walk-in cooler with pen and inventory, open it up. First item is milk. This is why it takes 4 hours. Milk. Milk, 2. I wonder why it takes so long. You're shitting me. Now, I teach something called shelf-to-sheet. In the order it appears on the shelf, the way you want it counted, 30-pound case first position in the walk-in freezer, 5-pound bag, because there's 6 5-pound bags in there. We break down the bag to bags in the reach-in freezer, in the 6th position by the bag. On the line, open up the drawer, it's by the ounce, which has been yielded, and next to it are 5-ounce portion bags of potato wedges. By count it the way you see it in the order it appears. No more inventories that take 4 hours. I have $5 million restaurants take inventory in under an hour every Sunday. No more $30,000 in shredded cheese because somebody counted ounces and it was a case price. No matter what your business is, you take inventory if you have product. That's your money. Worst manager I ever worked for, little Napoleon son of a, I didn't like him. Walked my ass in a walk-in cooler and says, David, what do you see? Well, kind of a geek, so I'm thinking Monty Python. What, a curtains? Remember that movie? Good one. I say, food. He says, no, money. You can learn something from even the worst of your managers. Money. By owners, whose money? Yours. Like in the restaurant world, it is amazing. Sometimes we don't let managers take money to the bank or count the end of day because we might have $300 in cash. We do 90% credit cards now. But we have tens of thousands of dollars of product unlocked all over the shelves. Walk around, take it, who cares? But this $300 in cash, some bitch, you can't touch it. Kidding me. We've got to have controls in place. So now, we know our cost of goods sold. You've got to take inventory. The only way to know, this is why I went on inventory, it's beginning inventory plus purchases minus ending is use, no matter what industry you're in. It's math. Most don't take inventories. So, purchases divided by sales is not your cost of goods sold. 9 out of 10 restaurants just take their purchases for the month divided by sales for the month. That ain't your cost of goods sold. Because why? You have a wild fluctuation in inventory. It's what leaves the shelves. Use. So if you don't take inventories, then I'm going to use the last year's 12 months purchases divided by sales. That's your food cost. That's your food cost. Because the fluctuation in inventory in that kind of period of time will move the needle just a hair. You won't even notice. The other is if you've changed your menu, raised your prices, done that in 3 months from now or 3 months ago, then we can only go back 3 months. That's your history. If you have been taking cost of goods sold calculations and your new food cost is this, we just need it because you have controls in place. What is your reality today? So sometimes we have to swag it. Now, it's a different category, different cost of goods sold for each category. Next, we have labor. Now you'll notice on the far right-hand side, I've added 2 more columns. What I've done is I've taken the annual number, divided it by 12 to come up with the fixed cost, and the annual number divided by total sales to come up with the percentage. And then I highlighted them because there's fixed and variable expenses in labor. Management, owner, salaried, fixed. Doesn't matter if I do $1 in sales or I do $100,000 in sales this month, I owe them their salary. But my cooks are a percentage of sales. I get busier, I use more hours. I get slower, I use less. So fixed, variable, workers' comp, things like that. Is it fixed or variable? Same thing. If you don't have good numbers, we may just take 1 or 2 payrolls and see where you are today and get those percentages. It doesn't have to be a 12-month number. Why do I say that? Because some of us are now looking at COVID numbers, and that's a different story. Can't use the COVID numbers. Maybe you got PPP money and you followed their instructions in the beginning and blew through it, got the second round of PPP money, and instead of putting it aside, you paid people more to keep them employed and just blew the money. Well, that's going to skew your numbers. So we might just use this week, this month, whatever. Y'all have this data, yes? Next. Go down all of my operating expenses as a fixed or variable. Number divided by 12. If you're on 13-period accounting, number divided by 13, or total divided by percentage. And just go down. And all of a sudden, you've got all this data. You can do this very quickly. In fact, if you have the right data, you export your QuickBooks file into a spreadsheet, the trailing 12 months in one sheet. You add formulas. Like I'm going to tell you, it's going to take less than an hour. But you're going to stumble. It's going to make choices. I also don't want you to think, well, those aren't my numbers. Or those are my numbers. I don't like them. I don't care what they are. It's a starting point. We're creating a template to create your plan. I don't care if they're not perfect, because we may ignore most of them. Because you're going to create your plan for success, how you're going to bring them in line. So now, you create your template based on the last 12 months. If I operate the next 12 months the same way I did the last 12 months, here's how much money I'm going to make or lose, and I want you to pick it up like it's a dead rat. Ew. You want to do better. Create your plan. Create your life that you can make, not have to be there 24/7. Because we can find the money for management. It's there. We can schedule properly, not bleed our labor. We can re-engineer our menus or products to bring our food costs down, our pork costs down. We can look line by line by line, and this is what happened, what COVID did. You dropped every extra service you had. You said, expendable, 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 and you trimmed your P&Ls down to nothing to survive. Well, now we got to bring them back with smarts. What can we afford? What really gets us return? What do we need in our business? Not go back to our old habits of bleeding money. Because didn't I just tell you? Shortage in labor, labor costs are up, cost of goods sold are up. How do we go back? If there wasn't one wake-up call to scare any business owner, it was COVID. You survived. You're already somebody special. You figured it out. Whether you did everything yourself, you willed your business to succeed. Now it's time to get back to profiting. So now, once I have this template, I then implement my plan, and we'll start talking about that. And the plan is this. In this example, I've got a food cost line highlighted. And from your P&L, we find that you have a 38% food cost. That is not unusual. Not unusual at all. I don't care if you're a pizza place, I don't care if you're a steakhouse. Like we, as an industry, just eyeball stuff. We don't cost it out. It drives me nuts. And we wonder why we don't make money. But then if I use an industry average, if you all watch those shows, which I left that point, I'm going to bring it right back now. If you watch those shows, what do they say food cost is? 3 times markup, 34%. Bullshit. National Restaurant Association says the average restaurant has a 34% full food cost. Bullshit, that's average. Pizza place, steakhouse. is anybody's business on the same street corner, same price point, same style of service, same quality of product, same set of core values. How do we use averages? They're good for nothing, but a guide maybe. And I find people that are doing pizza and pasta and should be running 22% food cost, and they're running 38. Patting their kitchen, man, you're like, we're doing great. No, sorry, 34. Look, we're kicking it. But you're losing thousands upon thousands of dollars every week. Yet I got steakhouse that if you say to the chef, hey dude, you're running 38%, I need 34. What if there's a concept called cash contribution, that I can actually sell these products instead of the $12 burger that makes me $7, and I sell a steak for $60, it makes me $30, 50% food cost. What would you rather sell? Freaking steak. Because why? We're going to talk about prime costs. It drives my labor costs down. It takes the same $15 an hour cook to flip the steak that it does the burger. So you've got to have a budget. You've got to know your numbers, your business. And some of you may have dug a hole. You've did some rent abatement, and you're going to come due. You have EIDL money. You got to start paying back. That's going to start happening. And all of a sudden, you go, man, I need money. I've got to find a way. I've got to be more aggressive with my food costs than somebody else. So right now, we start off with, we say, okay, 38%. Well, in month 2, I have 35%. Because I'm going to teach you today 2 clipboard systems, key item tracker to prevent theft, waste tracker to stop dumbass mistakes, restaurant checkbook guardian, give up ordering without giving up your checkbook. And I'm going to guarantee my restaurant operators a 2-3 point drop in your food cost. Without recipe cards, without inventory, because we're going to finally pay attention. Do you know that in our world, restaurant operators, a typical restaurant runs 7 to 9 points above their ideal? So if my ideal, based on what my customers actually order, it was 30% food cost, they're going to run 37 to 39%. And they want to blame the frickin' vendors. Oh, Cisco, you sons of bitches, you're screwing me. Bullshit, it's what you're doing in your kitchen is what's crushing you. Because if I have systems in place, if I put software in place for my recipe cards, every time an invoice comes in, I can adjust. It's not big bad Cisco, US Foods, Benny Keith, whoever. It is you as an operator, what you do with your product or what you don't do with your product. And so all of a sudden, by paying attention, we can drop those food costs. But look, I'm going to implement that system in month 1. I can't hold my managers accountable to something I throw at them. I've got to teach them what their job is, how to do it, how well it should be done, more importantly by when. They've got to demonstrate they can do it on their own. With me over their shoulder, now I can hold them accountable. Month 2, I hold them accountable, drop my food cost 3 points. I also know that based on 38, where my prime cost is, we're going to talk about that, I have a goal to make money. And I know that I have to change my food cost from 38% to 24%. But I created a plan that I start my recipe costing cards. I go get a margin edge. I go get an extra chef. I go get whatever. I don't give a rat's ass what you use. And I used to have software. The one you use is the one I want you to use. Like you'll actually use it instead of paying money and doing nothing with it. Well, all of a sudden, it's going to take you 40, 60, 100 man hours. You do catering, it could take you 6 months to finish all your recipe cards. But the restaurant, 40, 60, 100 man hours. Beautiful part with software is, and I would not operate without software today. Wouldn't do it. Because the moment your invoice comes in, prices have changed. Beautiful part is now you take your cell phone, take a picture of it, snap it, goes up in the beautiful cloud, and they digitize, put it all in your software, and now the moment you get a delivery, by the next day, all your prices have changed. All your recipe cards are up to date, your next order's up to date, your next inventory is up to date, like we are set up for success. I'm going to then give you something, we'll go through a process called my menu profitability monitor, finding your ideal food cost. Software will do that, but what it doesn't allow you to do is, what if I were to reduce my food cost? What if I were to raise a price? What if I got rid of an item? What if I added an item and moved the mix around? That we can menu engineer your menu to produce a 24%. Now, I will tell you, during the pandemic, multiple members of mine were running 38% food costs. One of them is a brewery up in Wisconsin on the lake. in order for them to survive because their debt service was too high. We re-engineered their menu, brought in, I had them spend $40,000 on a new wood-fired pizza oven because we needed pizza. We needed $24 pizzas, handcrafted artisan pizza that matched handcrafted beer to bring their food costs from 38 to 26. Another concept, multi-unit concept up in Pacific Northwest, inland Northwest, primarily skirt steak and burgers. Without changing their menu, without raising prices astronomically, and surgically making changes, taking them from 38% to 26%. Real world. Without buying shitty product, without gouging my guest. And oh, by the way, the only person worried about raising your prices are you, not your guest. If you can't charge for it, don't sell it. Put that in the back of your brain. If you cannot charge for it, do not sell it. Doesn't belong in your concept. And think about, are you giving good service? With that said, you are the solution, but it takes work. You got to put the systems in place, you got to have managers help, but this is creating your plan. You do this line by line by line for each position in labor, line by line by line to every expense from janitorial and so on. In the restaurant world, do you know what COVID meant to us? A 2-point depletion in our profitability due to gloves. Restaurant operators are losing 1 to 2 points of profitability they made 2 years ago to gloves. If you fail to change, you will just watch your money disappear and you'll work harder and it will be awful. But when you start making changes and you start running a business, leading a business instead of working in it, it's amazing what you can see. Does this make sense? This is what a budget does. So, let's go through each section. We know where sales came from. We'll talk about that second, but I want to teach one concept of prime cost. So, prime cost is in every one of your businesses. What I don't know, if you're not a restaurant operator, where your number should be. Prime cost is total cost of goods sold, total labor cost, including taxes, benefits, insurance. Old timers like me, I've been 55 years old, grew up washing dishes on stage because of a family restaurant. 30 plus years in this business. Old timers, we're taught this are called controllable expenses. In control of management, how we hire, fire, train, how we purchase product, utilize that product. In other words, managers, this is the manager's report card. They have no control if you decide to do a Groupon. The crack cocaine of restaurant marketing, a 78% discount when all said and done. They have no control over that. They've got no control that you want to give away $40,000 to the Boys and Girls Club because it's your favorite charity. They can't control you drive a Lamborghini out of your business. Whole nother story, Matt. He's not here, right? Good, all right. But they can control people and product. Make sense? Okay. So, don't know your cost of goods sold if you don't take inventory. And again, I will tell you should be doing minimum monthly, but we'll solve for weekly. Weekly inventories should take more. Know your numbers. If you don't, we're going to take our 12 months purchases divided by 12 months sales. Then we have labor. There's something called raw labor costs in my world. It's my term. Raw labor costs is if I pay a cook $15 an hour, my restaurant owners, if they punch in and punch out in 1 hour, does $15 come out of your bank? $19 comes out of your bank. There's taxes, benefits, insurance. That's a part of prime cost. What managers can't control is whether you reach your FICA SUI limit. So we're going to measure them on the smaller number of raw labor, but we do have in our prime cost taxes, benefits, insurance. Then we got managers. Salaried managers are part of prime cost. We have owners. Do owners belong a part of prime cost? Yes or no? Maybe. If you're an owner and you are keys in hand, the manager on the floor, you're a part of prime cost. You're the manager. Someday I'm going to fire you. I'm going to fire you. You're going to work on your business, not in it. Or an adjusted salary. If you're paying yourself $70,000 a year, but you'd pay a manager $50,000, 50 is a part of prime cost, 20 is sucking up profits in a whole different line item. Because when I fire you, I have to hire someone at that wage. So what is the money it takes for the business? 2 days a week on the floor as a manager, 2/5 or an adjusted 2/5 of your salary belongs, right? It's not your marketing person. It's not your accountant, CPA, or if you've got a bookkeeper in your business. It's not your catering salesperson. It's running the 4 walls. That's prime cost, what you can control. Now, do we measure off of gross or net sales? Before you answer, let me define them. In the restaurant space, for those of you who are not in it, 8 out of 10 POS systems, what they call net sale or gross sales is net sales. It's wrong. It's wrong. So I define it. Gross sales is the ring at the register before discounts, not including sales tax. Ring at the register before the discounts are removed, not including sales tax. Sales tax is not a sale. It's the pleasure the government gives us of holding their money, and penalizing is like they're a freaking mob if we hold on to it too long, like don't screw with the government's money. We've all done it as entrepreneurs. Most expensive money you'll ever screw with. So if I sell a $10 burger, I comp $5, gross sales is $10 before the discount. That's ring of the discount, not including sales tax. Ring up a $10 burger, comp $5, $5 is net sales. Do I measure off of gross or net sales? Restaurant people, what do? Net's how I was taught. It's wrong, it's gross. Let me tell you why. I asked my chef or kitchen manager to sell a $10 burger. $10. Recipe costing card says $3 in product. Use divided by sales, 30% food cost. $3 into 10 is 30%, yes? You decide to run a BOGO, buy one, get one free. Comp $5. Do you use half the product? What's my food cost now? 60%. Is that chef's fault that you decided to do a discounted promotion? Chef's fault if your food sucks. Chef's fault if it's getting burned. It's chef's fault if it's getting wasted, spoiled, and all those things. Different story. But this is marketing. So I'm going to measure chef as if $10 came in the door and he or she used $3 in product. Gross sales. Still not with me, my social working friends? Your favorite charity. Tomorrow you're going to have an event, a $14,000 event. You're going to close the restaurant. It's just, oh, it makes your heart sing. So much fun. You're going to comp 50%. $14,000 day. Do you staff for a $14,000 day or a $7,000 day? 14. Do I buy food and booze for a $14,000 day or a $7,000 day? 14. Gross or net sales? Gross. What it means is some of your P&Ls, we're going to move comps from sales into expense. It's the same profit or loss, but I'm measuring my managers fairly. That makes sense? No matter what industry you're in. It's old school. It's what we were taught. It's wrong. Where should your prime cost be? When I started in 2003, the expert said 65% for a full-service restaurant, 60% for a full-serve. I had my members to 60% full-service restaurants back in 07, 05. Patting myself on the back, think I'm doing a good job. Then our industry changed. If you were a restaurant operator before 9/11, 9/11 changed everything. Why the hell would I bring 9/11 up on a speech? Worst day in modern American history, my lifetime. Because the next day, we went from $1 a gallon of milk to $3 in one day. Have our food prices gone down since? They go up every single frickin' delivery. And there's always a commodity. Oh my gosh, in Canada, there's locusts, and the cows ate them, made them mad, and beef prices through the roof. Oh, in Florida, locusts just swarmed in and destroyed the citrus crop. Holy shit. Like, do you remember 2 years ago when we stopped serving limes because they were so freaking expensive? There's always some sort of commodity disaster. You can count on it. So all of a sudden, we sit there and say, this doesn't work. If you're quick service, it'd be 60%. I'm here to tell you that if you do $850,000 a year or more in sales, your new prime cost target is 55% or lower. 55% or lower. What does that mean? Let's say you're You're a casual concept, full service restaurant. You do $1 million gross sales a year. You've been patting yourself on the back because every other expert's told you 65% prime cost. Patting yourself on the back, I'm doing a great job. And I come in and I say, oh, there's 10 points on the table on the same sales you're doing right now. See, this is a beautiful marriage between what Matt does and I do. Matt drives sales, but I make sure you make money on those sales. So imagine you do not increase $1 in sales. You do exactly the same amount of sales, but you reduce your costs, prime cost alone, not operating expenses, prime costs, food, people, booze, people. There's 10 points on the table. That means there's $100,000 in bottom line profitability on the same sales you're doing right now. So I want you all to pretend you're in the restaurant business. Every one of you, I want you to participate with this because I want you to think about this. I walk up to you and I have a duffel bag with 100,000 $1 bills in this puppy. This thing's heavy. Some bitch, boom. Freaking table is stressed, $100,000. And I say to each and every one of you, that bag of $100,000 is yours. That's your profit right there, that's yours. It is yours, but there's going to be some hard work. You've got to do some hard work. That's the only thing. I'm going to give this to you, but you got hard work to do over the next year. How many of you would do the hard work? Raise your hands. In the restaurant world, you lie. It's bullshit. I tried, David. I tried to get my manager to do this. What does try mean? Who signs the frickin' paycheck? Sometimes we have to, I don't mean to be cold, we have to remind people that you sign the front of the check, they sign the back of the check. When they sign the front of the check, they can make the decisions. That's not to treat people like shit. You have to lead your business. It is your gosh darn business. And so you decide what can happen. And all too often you go home and go, I saw Dave's got Peters, we're so excited, we're going to do recipe cards, we're going to do inventory, we're going to do this, and they go, no. My favorite is when I go to restaurant shows and I get, how many of you, your team members, all your employees know you're here and you're at a seminar? Oh. Do you know what that means to my restaurant people? They go home and the employees go, oh shit, they went to another seminar. I'm so excited, we're going to make change, we're going to make change, we're going to change. And they go, no. Huh. And then I get this phone call. David, I love your stuff. I tried. The frick does try mean? What does that mean? So I'm going to pick on you because you're front row. Not to pick on you, but to pick on you. This is my pen. Try and pick up that pen. Try and pick it up. Don't touch it! Put it down. Now try and pick it up. Don't touch it. I said try. What's it? No, try to pick it up. Don't touch it. Try again. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Try. Try. You're not trying hard enough. What does try and get you? Nothing. So my 13-year-old daughter at the time, she's now 19. I got a buddy over. I'm like, Brooke, what does try and get you? And her job is to say nothing. She freezes. What does Dad want me to say? My 13-year-old daughter says, trying leads to excuses. Poof. Son of a bitch, that's mine forever. I tried. What follows it? Locusts. I don't give a shit what comes out of your mouth. It does not matter. It's just an excuse. Right? You either did it or you didn't. You allowed your employees to push back, and you wanted the passive least resistant. We're in the middle of an employee shortage, and we're like, oh, but if I push them too hard, they may leave me. I'd rather be short-staffed than have the wrong people on my team. I will cut my menu down in half. I will close my gosh darn kitchen. I will not allow employees to hold me hostage. But in that same breath, I will coddle, train, coach, get them to be a part of the change. Like my personality is not raw. My personality is yeah. You don't have to be me. You have to be authentically you. Care about them, get them on board, lead. Does that make sense? You, no matter what business you're in, have control over that. But restaurant operators, I'm telling you right now, this is critical to you. By the way, 55 is just a possibility. If you feel like 55% is not possible, you're right. There's the frickin' door. I can't help you. If you believe it's not possible, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, it is not possible. When you start getting to If you're under $850,000 a year in sales, 60% is our number. You get $1.5 million to $2 million, $3 million. Once we pass $2 million, prime cost starts to drop because your customers are managing your efficiency. You can bring every cook in the world in at the same time, every server, every delivery driver, everybody, but you've got a 2-hour wait and your ass is to elbows. Your customers manage your efficiency, which means your labor cost doesn't go higher. You can't fit another cook, can't serve it, can't fit another person. So now your labor cost drops like a rock. And we could be looking at 50s and even 40s. I have a Mexican food, Tex-Mex restaurant outside of Dallas, Texas, that does $5 million a year in sales. Sells over $1 million a year in margaritas alone. Runs a 42% prime cost routinely, has run as low as 38, and we said, you need to add labor. You're too efficient. That's minting money. Do the math. Minting effing money, life-changing. So start thinking about your business. What are your sales? How many points are on the table? And I'm going to tell you right now, a typical restaurant operator who does not take inventory, does not labor on a daily basis, runs a 78% prime cost. That means there's 23% on the table for a typical restaurant operator. That's how poorly we operate. So, change is yours. In your businesses, what I don't know, if you're not a restaurant operator, where should your prime cost be? I don't know that. But it's the same stuff. It's people and product. Everything I'm sharing with you right now is 100% transferable to any business. I just don't have stories. I'm a restaurant guy. Now, let's say this. If you say to me, David, let's say you and I have a conversation. David, you don't understand. Based on my core values, in the off season, I'm not willing to cut people's salaries. And you know what? I'm in a small community. I'm not willing to raise my prices, assuming that's the only way you could lower your food costs, which is it not. It's not. David, I'm going to run a 65% prime cost. You know what I'm going to do as your coach? Fantastic. Now I'm going to hold your ass accountable to 65 because you chose what to do with your money. It's a choice versus looking backwards on that P&L. What was I left with? Did I make money or lose? Oh shit, I don't know. Am I dumbass lucky or am I really lucky? You chose. And I'll support you 100% of the way. It's your core values. It's your price point, your quality. But I will show you what's possible. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, this is important. People ask me all the time, where should my food costs be? How the shit should I know if you don't have recipe costing cards? And your menu mix or your POS system. What kind of restaurant are you? Am I tacos? Am I ice cream? Am I burgers? Am I steaks? Very different restaurants. So, I want you to learn this lesson. While I want you to have a 55% prime cost or under, I could have a 30% cost of goods sold, 25% labor cost. I could have a 20% cost of goods sold and a 35% labor cost. That's 55. Remember that steakhouse example? I could run 40% food cost on purpose. I wouldn't, but I could because cash contribution drives my labor cost. The ring at the register is so high that I drive my labor cost down. This is why you've got to understand prime cost. If you want to make money in any one of your businesses, you've got to know prime cost. Have to. This has everything to do with you making money or losing it. What you do with product and people on a daily basis. But based on where you're located in the country, minimum wage, food, what you're buying and selling, price point, your core values, your mix on your prime costs will be different. So the only way to know where you should be is to have a what? Budget. You start seeing why I can't use industry averages? Can't do it. You know, I overheard, I know you're running not a ghost kitchen, but you're one of those concepts that are selling the brand to another restaurant. Okay, so he's taking product and go, here's a restaurant. You want a restaurant? You want to run a second restaurant out of your business? Here's the menu, here's the product, God bless, go. Licensing, for all intents and purposes. Ghost kitchens and licensing is the hottest thing in the world in restaurants now. Because you already have a kitchen, you've got people standing there picking their ass. Why not sell something and use that labor? Your target is going to be way different, right? Your labor is going to be creepingly, just disgustingly low because you've got the labor. So each business is different. Without a budget, how the hell do you know where you should be? Drives me nuts. And doesn't matter what business. Whether it's here at Matt's or it's at yours. How do you know where you should be if you don't have a budget? How do you have a plan? Are you just going to be lucky? That's a much harder road to go because some of us aren't lucky. No, by the way, in the restaurant business and in your businesses, every mistake costs you what, owners? Money. Whose money? Your money. Why do we let employees make the same dumbass mistake we made and learn the lesson? Oh, here's schedule. Oh, I told you not to schedule Friday night with all rookies. Look, the kitchen blew up, our labor cost was out of control, people were comping things, they're unhappy, Yelp reviews are horrible. Shit, you knew that, you learned. But we let the new person make the same dumbass mistake. We don't have a plan, we don't have training, we don't have a system. Does that make sense? No matter what business you're in. Now, let's dive into the budget part. We've got, what time is it? I'm just going to walk you through a little of this because we got a break in about 2 minutes, right? Okay. And then this afternoon we're going to sprint. I'm going to let you know right now we're going to sprint. But when you start going through your budgeting process, you're going to forecast your sales, you're going to get your cost of goods sold targets, you're going to set your labor targets, you're going to do your operating expenses. And when you forecast your sales, we have history. Remember, I'm going to send you all this PowerPoint. We got plans for our new year. We adding seats, we add increasing menu prices and so on. Ultimately, we're just going to swag. You all know what a swag is? Scientific wild ass guess. Science is numbers, but you got to guess. And so to do so, I don't care whether it's tea leaves, I've got a spreadsheet that I'm going to give you that if you put either last year, if you're truly seasonal, June to June, use last June for this June to forecast because your mix is different. But for most of us, I'm going to use last month, the forecast next month. You just type it in, put in your forecasted sales, and it's going to tell you what your average Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is on that increase or decrease. Then you can make a change. Takes seconds. Next, you're going to go determine are they variable or fixed expenses. Salaried managers versus hourly managers. Rent, fixed rent versus advertising expense. Is it fixed or variable? You go down your P&L and you literally figure out which each one is. Now, this, to find prime cost, you've got your inventories or the numbers we said. Labor, you've got payroll, even if it's just a recent payroll. Just remember it's percentage to sales. And then operating expenses, line by line by line. I showed you in the example, that's why I'm not spending a lot of time on here. And the last thing I want to finish this on for this morning, it'll take about 2 minutes. Chart of accounts. The majority of restaurant operators, when I look at their chart of accounts, what their P&L looks like by labels, if you don't know what a chart of accounts is, it's each line item, they suck. Do not know how you can run a business. In fact, I'll get on the phone with an operator and I'll go, what's this expense? I don't know. I got to call my bookkeeper. You're shitting me. See, number one, there is no wrong chart of accounts. But if you look at your financial statements, your report card, you don't know what every line item is, you ain't running your business. It's running you. I'm going to tell my bookkeeper, my accountant, what my chart of accounts are going to look like and how I want them done. And so in my world, and I'm going to give you these as well, chart of accounts are going to look like this. Oops, let me go backwards real quick. Notice. Food, beverage, bottled beer, draft free wine, liquor, merchandise. Yes? Guess what? I'm going to have cost of goods sold. By category, because of our budget, same way. Now, if I'm a full service restaurant, owner, admin, management salaries, hourly manager, cooks, dishwashers, each position. Not front of house, back of house. If I told you how many frickin' P&Ls I saw hourly salary, how do you control that? So if I'm quick serve, I'm going to have the same split, but by category based on my positions in that. And here's the deal. You're going to notice that I go cost of goods sold, gross profit, labor, operating profit, then my expenses. I'm not searching through a P&L for server, which is S, D for dishwasher, C for cook, and trying to add it all up. I have it together. That my prime cost is at the top. My two biggest expenses in my restaurant are at the top, followed by when I start breaking my operating expenses. Do you know that quick alphanumeric? You can put them in any order you want by a number to it. That my next biggest expense is my occupancy, and my utilities, my repairs and maintenance. Then I can go down and I can say general operating, travel, entertainment, legal, accounting. And then for us restaurant operators, you're going to love this one, direct operating expenses. Look, pest control, paper, janitorial, all that shit you want to see together. Ultimately, when I get to the bottom of this, you'll notice depreciation, amortization, interest expense. I don't give a rat's ass about those things. Those are cash flow items. It's the government trying to make sure I pay more taxes. That's all those are. So from importance to pay attention to as an operator to least important. You can actually make your profit and loss statement something that means something to you, that you can run your business. So if you make these changes on your chart of accounts, what's going to happen is you may end up changing your point of sale system, other spreadsheets, payroll company, because all of a sudden you went from salary and hourly to all salary to by position. There's lots of changes that happen, and you've got to make sure everything matches, because here's the last thing I want to give you before we go to lunch, or next speaker, I should say. If you have one report and you go, well, that number's this plus that one, and this report, that doesn't match this one, but I know it's this one minus that number, and this report, well, that number's similar, but I really don't know because it's this. You can't run your business. It has to be the same frickin' number here, here, and here. That you trust your numbers. If you do not trust your numbers, you do not have a grasp of your business. So I'm done for this morning. Matt, your show. Woo-woo!
When I was watching upstairs, I overheard the Lamborghini.
What Lamborghini? What are you talking about?
The short white man car. So we're going to take a couple-minute break, and then I got my pops up here. We're going to talk about some different type of marketing and some different things. I swear to keep them under control. And then we have food coming. We have two things coming. We have McAllister's Deli coming with food, and then we have Better Blend with some bowls. So